Hi. As a part of our Wi-Fi 8 updates, I'll have a short presentation on an interesting topic coming up in Wi-Fi 8 as a part of the ultra high reliability drive. There is a lot of work being done on how to make roaming better in the era of multiple links. My name is Shrikant and I'm with NanoCell Networks. So Wi-Fi 7 introduced this MLO concept, but roaming between APMLDs was, even though there was a lot of specifications, it really did not become successful in practice. Typically, you would find that a multi-link connection would end up with a single connection in another AP. So now we want to address this in a more sort of generic way to get rid of some of the other challenges that people have been noticing over time. For example, for a long time, we have depended on fast transition, 11-hour based FT. But people have noticed that even though you have a secure reassociation with your neighboring AP, things like adding block-ACK and such context information actually take the effective roaming time to a much larger value. And people have looked at these numbers in details and had made contributions during this Wi-Fi 8 deliberation stage. So the idea is that how can we make this generic case of multi-link to multi-link transfer smoother and address some of the pain points that are still pending from our legacy roaming techniques. What are some ideas which are coming to the table? We don't throw away the old fast transition idea, that still remains as an option, but I think the more interesting options coming on the table likely to address the problems is this distributed session or some sort of a mobility domain which will basically overarchingly cover multiple APs. Okay, so this kind of a new mobility domain where the interesting thing is that you would basically find the security associations tied to that mobility domain rather than to the individual AP. Let's see an example architecture to understand how people are thinking. Remember, there are multiple implementation options. Here are your APs connected to the DS. There are some stations. Multi-link connections are the generic way to connect in this new era. And then this sort of mobility domain sitting above logically with the ability to be placed in individual APs or maybe as a function outside of these. All these are left to implementations. The key idea is that since now your security related operations are tied to the address of this SMD, you basically will avoid a lot of the housekeeping operations when the station moves from this AP, say, to a neighboring AP. Okay. And of course, you still want the AP to serve legacy clients smoothly, so all that is taken care of. So idea is, with a lot of implementation flexibility, avoid all the overheads that have brought in delays. Some of them have been addressed in fast transition methods, but some of them, like renewing the block ACK sessions and so on and so forth, have been painful, what you call overheads, which have kind of limited the mobility numbers that one gets in practice. And remember, with UHR, roaming is taken on a lot of significance. So what are some effective steps that we are likely to see in the protocol? So as I said, again, we are looking at MLD to MLD. Now we have new frames which are likely to be brought in, like roaming request, roaming response. Remember that there are context transfers which are possible with the help of the station saying what context to be transferred. And ideally, the whole process looks similar to a mobile network handover, where you have very little disruption time so that real-time traffic like voice and so on can move on smoothly from your serving access point to a target access point. So remember that new frames are introduced, but we don't want to repeat a whole lot of frames and processes which have caused these delay. And so we are bringing in new ways by which we can quickly move on from data transfer in the old AP to the new AP. So we'll have to wait and see how many of these options get into practice. Remember, there are lots of options put on the table. Testing these and making a certifiable, interoperable certification for some of these is going to be a challenge. So hopefully at least some of these will trickle down in a way by which people can see better roaming in enterprise probably to start with, and maybe in some of the multi-AP networks at home. Thank you. For more information, please take a look at our websites. We also offer courses through Wi-Fi Now Academy. Thank you.